Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today, Mimi and I are going to spend the day here in the cottage garden, the garden boxes, and hydrangea hill. Yes, it is mid-December. Have not touched this entire space since probably late summer, and let's just be honest, it is absolutely driving me crazy. So Mimi is my partner in crime in the garden, and she loves this kind of stuff just like I do. So we are going to tackle this area and get it nice and neat and tidy because it's just a mess, y'all. And Hot Mess Express is going on right here in this garden, and I can't take it anymore because this space is highly visible. Well, right here, this is our driveway, right? So we pass this spot all the time. Plus, the house, of course, is right here. And I look out my kitchen window and I see this and it's like, "Arr!" So what we're going to do today is a little bit of everything. Mimi has already gotten started. I'm going to kind of put her in charge of the whole cottage garden, which encompasses these two lower flower beds. The vast majority of this garden is going to be perennials. And so you can see, because we have had multiple hard freezes. We've had 19-degree nights, 25-degree nights, 26, and then in the 30s, of course. So all the perennials are going dormant. And then my annuals, such as the salvia right here, has been fried and toasted and is ready to come out. So Mimi is starting on the far corner and just cutting everything back. So when you're going through and you're cleaning up your perennials, like this is the ultraviolet luminary phlox, all of this foliage up top is dead, right? So the freeze has gotten it. That foliage is dead. You can see there's a little bit of green down at the bottom. Looks like maybe I have some ants trying to form a little colony around here. The green at the bottom can absolutely stay, but what she's going to do is just shear it back and take all of that foliage off. The daylilies have gone dormant as well. You can see where I had come in and cut back the dead stalks, and now all the foliage is dying as well. Your stalks should just come right out of the ground. So because they are completely dormant, they will easily pull out. So we'll get all that cleaned up, and then once the foliage dies, it too will come out relatively easily. You can just pull it. So Mimi will either pull it, and then if there is a little bit of green still left on it, we're just going to trim it back. So all of these are going to get completely trimmed back, as is like the baptisia. So the baptisia, we have lemon meringue on each side. Those will get completely cut down to the ground. My Amsonia is toasty, so it too shall get cut all the way back. We do have some perennials, right, that will basically stay what I call like a semi-evergreen. This is a penstemon. This is Blackbeard. So it's a penstemon. I can't remember now exactly which one. It basically will keep that lovely green mat all winter, and we'll leave it alone. Not a problem. It can stay right there and hang out, and it will be just fine. I do have one butterfly bush in here. It too will be left alone. I will trim my butterfly bush in late winter, early spring. Once I start to see a little bit of growth popping out, then I can give it a nice little shape up, because of course butterfly bushes bloom on new growth. Now, see those lovely garden boxes right there, y'all? The box on the right, that is or was sunflowers. They were stunning, right? So clearly they have been fried. And then next door is the zinnias. So I'm going to come through there and just pull everybody out, right? We're just going to get them all cleaned up, get them out of there. That is going to be quite the chore. The middle box that here is more of herbs, and then I have a clematis that is growing there. This clematis blooms on new growth. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and shape it up. I'm going to really prune it hard, and then like I may have some of my other perennials, like my perennial herbs. I think that's a sage that's a little rusty looking. So we'll just get all that kind of cleaned up in here. And then the last two boxes had marigolds. I've got some flat leaf parsley. Probably going to leave that because it's still nice and green, and I do enjoy flat leaf parsley in my when I cook. So get everything cleaned up, get this far box cleaned up, put away my little support for my cucumbers, get that tidied up. And then hopefully we'll have time to get the urns planted. Oh, I'm just telling you. This has been neglected and it looks rough. I'm showing it to you anyway. We'll go ahead and get the urns. That's the caladiums left over. Get those out, fresh soil, start brand new scratch, and put some really pretty violas in there. And then hydrangea hill. Now, hydrangea hill, we have little lime hydrangeas and we have firelight hydrangeas. They are both panicle hydrangeas. Now, I am going to go ahead and prune mine for the season. We've talked about this many times before, that we are going to be hosting a wedding here at the house and the nursery at the end of May. Alyssa, who works for us, is precious. We adore her. She is like one of our own. She is going to get married, and so we're going to have a ton of work to do in, late winter, spring, with the nursery, with shipping, with retail, then the wedding. So I have time now. I'm going to go ahead and prune these. I will show you how to do it. We've talked about this many times before, but essentially we're going to take those hydrangeas back. I'm probably going to take them back by close to half, because these are very mature. They have strong, sturdy stems down there at the bottom. So I may go a half, anywhere from like a third to a half, get them all cleaned up. I'm just ready to get all of this nice and neat and tidy. So we're just going to come in here and do a lot of cleanup and make this space look presentable and attractive for the winter. As I do things, I may stop and just kind of explain, but right now we're just going to do like pretty much what I just told you. Mimi's working in the cottage garden, cutting things back. We're going to throw all the debris in the back of Johnny, and then we'll take it to our area. It's not really an official compost pile because we don't recycle, like we don't do the official composting. We just let it naturally decay and just return to the earth. So I'll clean up the sunflowers and the zinnias and these garden boxes, and then we'll kind of work our way up. So that's what we're going to do. It is a beautiful, cool, crisp morning here in December. We're supposed to get up to like mid-60s today. So it's going to be a great, fun day out in the garden with Mimi. So that's what we're going to do. All right, my friends, so Mimi and I are making very quick work of this. It's great. So she has gotten the cottage garden all cleaned up. I have gotten the garden boxes all cleaned up. She's already cut back the little limes, and now she is getting ready to start on the firelights. But I wanted to stop and show you how I'm going to plant these urns. We're gonna do something kind of fun and hopefully very pretty in the spring. Each of these urns is on irrigation. So we've got these rings. Jerry got them for me a couple of years ago, and it's called net bow, and in it you hook your irrigation to it, but then there's emitters around the ring, so then you kind of nestle it in your hanging baskets or your pots, whatever it is, and then it drips all the way around. I found this to be highly effective instead of just having a dripper that hits one spot, because then the plants get water all the way around. If you can't find this, then you can also use the thin little brown tubing. The yellow jackets are out. The thin little brown tubing that has the emitters in it. I have used those in my hanging baskets and other things. So if you have irrigation, just know that sometimes one little dripper is not enough, that you may need more. What we're gonna do, whenever I do containers, I always layer the bottom with land and seed compost. Now, the thing about having the nursery is that sometimes bags of land and seed get damaged and they get holes in them. So again, I sacrifice, Mimi just said, oh shush, because I sacrifice and I will take the damaged bags of land and seed for my garden. Mama just said, bless your heart. That's right, bless my heart. So I always take my land and seed, good quality compost, and you put it in the bottom third of the container. It helps retain moisture. It helps give the plants food. It's just a great way. It's a great little trick that I learned a couple of years ago from a gardening magazine. I think it was Fine Gardening that I learned that trick from. So I do that with all my hanging baskets, my hay racks, my everything, right? So we've got that compost down in there. Next, we're gonna go with your great potting soil. We've used Proven Winners for years. I really like it. It drains well and just does a really good job in our containers, hanging baskets, and so forth. So we're gonna open that up. Now, I am not gonna fill my container up all the way because I have a plan. So we're gonna put just a little bit in here. All right, so now I've got a little bit of potting soil in there. I have about probably 7 inches below the lip of the container, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some tulip bulbs in here, and then we're gonna come back and put some pansies, violas rather, on top. Yesterday we spent time doing planting our spring tulips, both here at the house and at the Signature Garden, and I still have some tulips left over, so why not, use them. This is Miss Confection. It is a blend from Color Blends. This is my second year getting my tulips from Color Blends. Last year they just performed magnificently well, and so of course this year that I went back to Color Blends and got all of mine for this year. So I am just layering them in here. So that way, the idea is that in the spring, these violas that I have, which are a lovely blue, will be nice and full, and then the tulips will pop up amongst the violas. Now, Miss Confection is a really pretty blend of, there's 2 different colors. Starts out as a soft yellow that then turns to a pure white, and then we have another one that is a reddish pink. So beautiful with, look at those pretty, aren't they pretty? So sweet. So these are violas. I like violas maybe sometimes a little bit more than pansies, because they bloom more reliably for me in the colder months. So this is part of the Color Max series, and I'm pulling my irrigation line because it's a little It's a little tall right here. There we go. All right. So all I did was just nestle my ring down in there. And because these violas are so very, very happy and vigorous, I'm just tucking them down. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back with soil. I don't know if I should do 3. I might just do 3. I'm gonna go a little bit more conservative on this since I do have the tulips in there. There we go. See? Ta-da! Then all I'm gonna do is come back with some potting soil and then some more land and seed, kind of layering that in there. I like putting the irrigation ring in first, that way we can hide it. So the idea, of course, then is that come probably early to mid-March, those tulips will come up amongst these blue violas. Gorgeous whites, yellows, pinks will be stunning, absolutely stunning. Later on, probably in the next week or so, I'm gonna plant the garden boxes with ranunculus and anemones because we've got those as well. So it's gonna be a beautiful spring. Go ahead, make a little thought and get ready for spring as you're in your fall garden. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, and then we're gonna clean up the rest of the fire lights and just continue on this beautiful day out in the garden. All right, my friends, today's project is complete, and oh my gosh, it just looks so amazing. Just a couple of hours with 4 hands and some very determined women, and it makes a huge difference. So neat and tidy and clean. Let me show you. Now it is a windy day, and but my gosh, y'all, so stinking happy about with how everything turned out. Mimi did an amazing job getting all of the cottage garden cleaned up. So you can see, right, we've got Amsonia cut back, daylilies cut back, Baptisia. And y'all, you do not have to be specific and very careful and, you know, very particular on how you cut, right? It is called, these are perennials. They come back from brand new growth. So just cut them down to the ground. I mean, roughly, you know, 6 inches. Some of them are 6, some of them are 8. It's all right. You can see how everything is just nice and neat and tidy. Now, Nophophia, for me, is a semi-evergreen. So even in the wintertime, it'll keep a nice green habit to it, as does the Achillea, the yarrow. So we just left that. I have a little clump of the lamb's ear, my daisies, the spiderwort, right? All of that will stay a little bit green for me, so we leave that along with the little sweet little clumps of some agastache in there. And so this other bed mirrors that as well. So everything just got cleaned up, trimmed back, nice and neat. And then the biggest transformation, I dare say, is the garden boxes. Just like you can see the chicken coop. You can see the chicken coop because Mimi got the panicle hydrangeas cut back, so we can see up there. You can actually see the sweet little violas that are up there. We can see the girls. It is quite nice. And then I do love the urns with the blue violas. Typically I do yellow because they stand out more, But this blue with the silver, silver gray, right, on the urns just is so pretty and so striking. I did go ahead and water them in. The urns have already dried, but everybody got a nice good drink of water, so they will be fine. We're not running the irrigation right now just because it is winter time. We don't need to run it as much. But when I do, if I do need to turn it on, I can, or I can just come up here with a watering can like I just did and give them a nice little drink of water. And then it'll be fun to see those tulips pop up out of out from amongst the violas in the springtime. Now, garden boxes, they are tidy. They're not finished and put to bed for the winter. And this, we talked about possibly doing it this fall. Obviously that's not going to happen, but we need to come back in here and remake our beds. We want to redo our steps. We've had these in here for, gosh, 5 years maybe, and it's just showing some wear and tear. And so we want to come back in here and kind of not necessarily redesign it, because I like the design. We just need to kind of rebuild some of this. So this summer we're going to kind of limp along and it will be just fine. Some of you that have been there with us for a while, you will remember that this second garden box has the dodder weed, D-O-D-D-E-R, and it can be invasive, and it's like a parasitic weed. When you put plants, so I had zinnias in there. It did not affect the zinnias at all, but also because I did lay down some a pre-emergent, so it kept it from germinating. And then the zinnias I put in there obviously as a plant, not as a seed, because if I put the pre-emergent, then the zinnia seeds wouldn't germinate. So as a plant wise, it did fine. So we're gonna limp along probably for one more season before we really come back in here and address some of those issues. With the boxes, my plan is because, as you know, Alyssa's getting married. We've talked about this before. I'm going to come back in here and plant ranunculus and anemones in here, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm going to put them in this box with the daughter. We'll see. Anyway, they're just neat and tidy. They're not finished for the season, but Mimi got the panicle hydrangeas all pruned back. You can see not anything like crazy severe, right? She came in there and got them trimmed back, so you can see, for example, because I like to show you this, right? So this is where it was pruned last year, and then when you prune it here, then you get 2 more shoots out of each one. So then this year she came and pruned it here. Now, I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on this, but right here, there are little leaf nodes right here. So then this season, we're going to have a stem come here and a stem come there. So that's how you get really strong, sturdy stems. Because if you can look on some of those down in there, I mean, they are really thick. I mean, they're thicker than my thumb. So that's why we, you know, every year it kind of comes up and we trim a little bit, because we want our main stems to stay nice and strong. We don't want to cut them straight to the ground. And then the same thing with the firelights back here, the exact same type of deal on that. There are tons of leaves in here because we have some beautiful hardwoods, a lot of oak trees right here. So these are massive leaves. We will come back later, and because we need to mulch this whole bed, this bed did not get mulched at all this year, and we're going to probably come back with our compost pine bark fines mixture, because it's such a great soil amendment and top dress and helps feed the plants. So we'll do that on another day when I have Jerry and Andrew and Jackson and the whole crew. So what we will do is get some fresh mulch in here, neat and tidy, and then come in the spring, late winter, early spring, that's when we come back and we fertilize. I fertilize my shrubs once a year, and that is coming out of winter and going into spring. We'll cover all that when we get to it. So just know that if you want to go ahead and trim your panicle hydrangeas, your smooth hydrangeas, you absolutely can do that because they bloom on new growth. If you have macrophylla hydrangeas or serrata hydrangeas, mountain hydrangeas, you don't want to prune them now because you're going to be cutting off next year's flowers. So just don't do that. If you have questions, we did one of our earliest videos, we did like a hydrangea 101. wildly popular. I'll try to link that in the video description. So if you have questions about hydrangeas and how to take care of them, we go step by step by the different kinds of by the different hydrangeas, and you can look at that and get some ideas on how to take care of your hydrangeas. But looks so nice. It just looks so neat and so tidy and so clean, and I am a very, very happy gardener for sure. Could not do it without Mimi. She's just a little workhorse, I tell you. She works me into the ground, but man, it looks great. As always, my sweet friends, we hope you have had a great day with us here at Garden with Creekside, and that you have found it fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.